so please welcome Mark Leinweaver.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. The round of applause always puts a smile on my face. The smile doesn't last too long, unfortunately, because what we have to cover this morning is really serious stuff. But if we're giving out a round of applause, if anybody deserves it more than anyone else in this room, how about a huge one for Mr. Flaherty for putting this assembly together? All right. Let's just run through the ground rules before we get into who I am, why I'm here, because this is fast-paced. I have one speed. I run off enthusiasm. This is 29 minutes, and we are going to fly through it. The best, most encouraged way to get involved today is at times I'll ask you to raise your hand to questions. And if you agree with me, all I need is your hand. I do not need voices. Voices are for the very last slide, and I need them. So let's practice now. How many people in this room, when they graduate from Milford, want to go off to college? Let me see those hands, please. Great, good number. You put those down. How about something other than college? Maybe you want to go to a trade school, join the military, just get a job in the real world, get going. Okay, so we got a plan for something. Everybody seems to put their hand up. You're all-stars at it. That's the best, most encouraged way to get involved. Here's the other. I got two young ladies in the back chatting amongst themselves. Somebody here to the right's looking down, maybe at a phone. I think somebody to my left's got their earpods in. And so when that distraction stops me, it stops all of us. And what I'll do is say, hey, can we grab a couple of those empty chairs, put them up here on the stage, and let's just bring that distraction up in front of everybody. See, you'll think that I'm trying to bring you up and embarrass you. I'm not doing that. You're doing that. And the reality is I'm not here for me. I'm not here for me. I'm not here for Mr. Flaherty. I'm here for you. And I mean all of you. So if a small distraction is going to disrupt us, then let's just make it a major one. Now, the job of an agent is to give advice. My advice is stick to the first option that you're already an all-star at, because if we end up on that second distraction with people up here in chairs on this stage, and then you're off to your principal's office, or better yet, your superintendent's, that's going to be bad news for you. Let's have some fun, try to learn something. We're down to 27 minutes, and like I said, this is going to fly by. So, who am I and why I'm here? I'm a Major League Baseball agent. I've spent over 25 years, really now, in sports and entertainment. And I represent Major League players, whether they are on the Cubs, the White Sox, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Yankees. It's really all 30 Major League teams. And I don't just represent the player, I represent their family. So it's their mom, their dad, their wife, it's everybody. And I don't work exclusively with baseball. I represent baseball, but when that player or their family wants to go to a Bears game, Bulls game, Blackhawks game, it could be the Super Bowl, the Final Four, NASCAR race, golf, swimming, track, cross country, soccer, you name the sport, it's my job to come through on something. So I need to know agents, managers, publicists across all the sports. And it's not just sports. Because when that player's in New York, they want to go check out a Broadway show. When they're in Los Angeles, they want to see the set of the television show that you also binge watch. And then, of course, those concerts, 80,000 up there at Soldier Field. It's not enough to just get tickets there in the first row. They want to meet that superstar backstage after it's over. That's my job, to come through on all of it. So I better know agents, managers, publicists, even record label executives. And I don't tell you any of this to brag. I tell you this for one reason. That when I get together with those representatives, we have the same conversation on the same topic, character. How everything that the celebrities, the clients that we work for, the ones that you look up to, everything that they have accomplished to this point in their life, the fame, the fortune, the success, it can all disappear that fast based on this weapon. See, this isn't a phone anymore, it's a weapon. Because it's so dangerous, and every single one of you, you hold it in your hands. And you can access it from your fingertips at any moment without thinking. I think that makes you exactly like the celebrities you look up to. Why? Because fame, fortune, success, that's on the line for them. What's on the line for you? Going to college, getting the job, joining the military, whatever you raised your hand for here just a moment ago, that's literally on the line every moment of every day based on how you treat each other and interact onto this. That's what we're going to cover this morning. That's why I say it's serious. Now, before we go any further, let me get a better understanding of this room. How many people here are fans of country music? Do I have any country fans here? I got a few. So you know who Stapleton is, right? We know who Stapleton is. Do I have any fans of Morgan Wallen? Morgan fans? Couple. Anybody like Zach Bryan? I have some Zach fans. Do I have any Swifties in this room? I got a couple, proud. Hey, hold it high. $4 billion last year. How can you not be a fan? What about Drake? Any Drake fans? All right, now it seems like we got a few more hands up in the air. And then Kendrick? We got Kendrick, seems to be the most, and I know where you are on the Kendrick-Drake feud, clearly. So, all right, well, listen. You put your hand up for something, and if you didn't, I realized that you're just being bashful, and you probably have a fan of somebody behind me. Well, I get it. You're probably thinking to yourself from that chair, what's the tall, bald, fast-talking guy from California going to teach me this morning? I have no idea. I really don't know what I'm going to teach you, but I know exactly what I'll tell you. And that is, the message you're getting right here at Milford is the exact same message that those celebrities get. Because when I reference agents, managers, publicists, record label executives, it's of those 5 superstars. I communicate with them weekly. So you're getting the exact same advice they get. Now I realize the adults in this room, in this building, in your own house, we're telling you the same thing. But I think it's pretty special, it's unique to hear the same advice that those megastars get. It's up to you if you want to lock in, try to learn something, and take something away from it. So I'm an agent, I covered that. I represent 75 clients, I said that too. I actually think you're an agent as well. And the only difference between us is I have 75 clients and you have 1. Who's your one client? Who's your one client? Exactly, yourself. I saw it right there first. If you don't know the pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, if you don't know your client inside and out, you're probably going to fail, both of you. The number 1 rule, the fundamental building block to being an agent is honesty. You always need to be honest with yourself. And the job of an agent is to give advice. You're going to give yourself advice every moment of every day. I'll keep it simple. We're in school. It starts with the ABCs. So you're horsing around in the hallway or to the cafeteria, maybe even in this assembly. Mr. Flaherty sees it, sends you to his office, and then comes in and challenges you to take some accountability. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about accountability. What's your ability? Every single one of you, you're a superstar at something. You do it better than that person to your left or right, front or back. You do it better than everybody in this school, in this community. What is it? I'll give you an example to get thinking. Because it's not always about academics or athletics or even extracurriculars. When I was in your position, literally my senior year in high school, and also in middle school in 8th grade, when the superlatives at the end of the year came out, you get to vote on who's what. I won the same one twice, most talkative. And here I am 30 years later, I'm still the most talkative person in any school I go to. I got sent to the principal's office all the time for talking, and I'm sure there's people in this room that have as well. But that was my ability, and I was better than everybody at it. And that's been my livelihood for the last 30 years, talking. What's your ability? What is the one thing that separates you from everyone? Because you're going to account for it. Here at Milford, in college, the job, in life, but it is going to give you such an advantage over everyone else. So I'm going to give you a little homework assignment before you walk out these doors. Come up with the one ability that you do better than everybody. Because again, it is going to be a separator for you. Let's talk balance, do a little more Q&A. How many people in this room, show of hands only, like to play video games? Where are those hands? Decent number. How about people that like to watch TikTok videos or Instagram reels? All right, bigger number. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to get in trouble with your principal and your super and every adult that's watching this. I think it's awesome. I think it's great that you like to play a couple video games, watch some TikTok or Instagram. I got players that get paid to do both. I understand it. You want to carve out a little time each day to go do that, I'm fine by it. Where are the athletes? I see a lot of jerseys. Where are the athletes? Where are those hands? Doesn't matter to the sport you play. Let me see them. All right. How about people that might be on this stage? They're performers. They're in the play or the musical. They're artists. Just in general. Where are those? Okay. Who's in clubs and societies and activities here at school? All right, that's a big number. And then who's got a list of chores that they don't want to do when they get home? Just responsibilities that are like, oh, funny when you see the adults raise their hands. I always appreciate that. Here's the point. You're busy. There's 24 hours in a day. Not for you. There's 16. Why? Because 8 of them are spent right here. Whether you want to be here or not, 8 of them are spent here. So everything you just raised your hand for is over 16 hours. I didn't say anything about eating or sleeping. I didn't mention homework. I know you're going to Snapchat and FaceTime with your friends. Your 24 hours are going to fly by. So how much time are we maybe wasting on TikTok or video games? How little time are we investing in doing a little more homework or just getting to bed early so we're prepared for the next day? That's up to you because you have one client. And who's the client? It's yourself. So this is not mom and dad's job. It's not your teachers or your coaches. It's no one else's job to be in charge. And where are those seniors? Let me see those hands. It's going to get real fast for you. So if you don't have this balance buttoned up by the time you get to May or June, you might struggle out there in that real world. But why am I really here? It is C, it is character, it has everything to do with social media, and I hate to use this word, bullying. Let's start with social media. This is what every adult in your life tells you. Be careful. Watch out on this. Be careful of what you do, what you say, what you post, like, dislike, comment on. I've said it a few times. I believe this, extremely dangerous weapon. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I'm not saying they're going to happen here in Milford. I'm just telling you that last week I was in New York and Connecticut, and the week before that, California, Washington, and Nevada. I travel the country, see students exactly like you all over the nation. And I know what's going on out there. I see it, I hear it. So let's just say that the new rap album drops, right? It don't matter if it's Kendrick or Drake, because there's rap music everywhere. You don't even have to like it. You go to the halftime of the football game, there's probably rap playing. You want to go to a friend's house, it's playing in the background. So let's just say it's Kendrick, the new album drops, and we can listen and follow along to the lyrics on our phone. So we're listening, the lyrics are scrolling up, and you decide to take a little screenshot of that new song that dropped, and you're going to text it or WhatsApp it to a few friends. Well, I'll stop here. My next point, it doesn't matter about race or gender. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Asian, you could be Hispanic, Native American, Middle Eastern, boy, girl. That is completely irrelevant. But when you take that screenshot and send it to 2 or 3 other people, whether you sent it or received it, and you didn't look carefully and didn't catch that Kendrick used the N-word in that song lyric, that's not his lyric anymore, that's your thought. You're choosing to share to the use of that racist word. And the way that outside world is going to see you, view you, judge you, right or wrong, fair or unfair, whether you meant it or not, starting right here in Milford, but that college, that job, whatever you raised your hand for, they're going to view you as a racist. Now, like I said, it might not happen here. I wouldn't get too caught up in it. It's probably not going to happen to you or your friends or the team you play for, but I'm telling you what's going on out there. It's no different than the TikTok videos, right? Like, let me ask, who hates being on camera? I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be in the picture. Who doesn't like it? Well, it's great that you're all so comfortable with it. See the camera right there behind the basket? Recording my and your every move. You walk down these hallways, camera. You go to the Casey's, camera. Stop by the Grill and Chill, cameras everywhere. You never know when it's rolling. So you're hanging out at a friend's house this weekend. Everyone's having a good time. Someone from the back's making a TikTok video, and some knucklehead off screen goes, "This is so gay." Well, you and I both know that they are not referring to the dictionary definition of cheerful. You know exactly how that was intended, and that's homophobic. So what do we have here? What are the students like over there at Milford? What's going on their social media? Have you seen it? Have you seen these examples? They're racist homophobes. Now, like I said, it seems ridiculous. I'm just giving you some examples of what's going on out there. Probably not going to happen to you or your friend group or anything in Greater Milford. One thing I'm always interested to know, especially in front of both your principal and your superintendent, is who is proud to raise their hand high to say, "I'm a good student." Where are those students? We are in trouble. I would lie. Do you realize who's in this room? We have no good students, honestly. Oh, okay. I'm going to give you a layup. Who knows how to read? Okay, it's unanimous. I was thinking maybe it was more of a math and science group, but everybody put their hands up. All right, well, for all those people that know how to read, that's great. I need one volunteer right up here in front of this group. Who wants to be the leader? I can't get one volunteer? Perfect. From the back. Come on up. Big round of applause. Big round of applause. Now, I am going to go a tiny bit off script after we do a quick introduction here. What's your first name?
Corbin.
Corbin, thank you for your leadership. 2 things. One, I'm a fan of leadership and initiative, so for starters, here's a McDonald's gift card. Thanks for taking the leadership. Good job by you. See, it's interesting about what I just saw from here. I saw a unanimous group of hands go up to say, "I know how to read." Then I needed a leader to be a volunteer, and I couldn't get anyone until Corbin showed that leadership and initiative. It is so hard to be a leader. It is so easy to be a follower. But you want to know what that real world's looking for? That college, that job, they're looking for leadership. They're looking for what Corbin did. And I will go off script because I work in sports and I deal with some of the best athletes on the planet. What I have oftentimes found is athletes in general, so I am definitely giving you a little bit of a passive-aggressive hard time here, is your leaders on the field, on the court, in the pool, on the track. Well, I promise you, what they look for at the college and the pro level is who are better people, not better players. And that starts with leadership off of the field, off of the court. And that would include an assembly like this. So I'm going to give some of those athletes, I'm going to give everybody a chance to show me some leadership. But again, not just me, your principal, your super, and every educator in this room. Because Corbin, the reality is I don't need one volunteer. I actually need 5 more. So who are they? Where are the other 5? 2 right there, 3 in the back, 4 in the orange, 5 right here with the red, and 6 right next to you. Come on up. That's awesome. Now all of a sudden we got a bunch of leaders. Big round of applause for them. Corbin, look at what you started. Great job. Love that. Really, really well done. All right, Corbin, I'm going to bring you back down here to stand next to me because you are my captain. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no problem. All right, so we got 1 more than we actually need, and the truth is I'm not sending anybody back. I couldn't get a hand to go up, and now I've got 7 volunteers. Again, you want to talk about leadership and setting an initiative? That happened right here in front of everybody. Be mindful of it. But I didn't bring them up here for nothing. I need help on this, because this is a real-life, real-world example that happened at a school so similar to yours, to a student almost identical to you. I read story after story to find one that might match Milford. So what I'm going to ask my volunteers to do, starting on the end with my captain, is to literally take a bullet point, just one. Read it nice and loud, nice and slow, far slower than me. And then once you're done, you're going to pass the microphone down. Got it? Really simple. Our job's to just listen. We'll cheer at the very end when we're done with this section. Let's listen to what happened to a student at a school just like yours.
A female freshman high school student sent a private Snapchat to a friend which used a racial slur. The video was then circulated and saved by another student who was saying God.
Well done. Round of applause. Round of applause.
The female student said the words you in the Snapchat was all in the song you listened to.
Good job.
What she said in Snapchat to a friend was, I can try to get it. It wasn't until her senior year, 3 years later, after she was accepted into the University of Tennessee and on to its national champion cheer team, that the post was reemerged.
I'm going to call a quick timeout. I know that I might get a little louder because we are recording this to send home to mom and dad, but I got to make a quick point on the Snapchat, right? Disappears in 24 hours, or the Instagram reel goes away the next day. You take your phone, you swipe left, you delete that thread, you want to untag your name. Nothing gets deleted. I promise you, nothing gets deleted. How do I know? I've got players that are on the verge. They're this close to signing guaranteed, life-changing, multi-million-dollar contracts. And the first thing the team does is check their history. They look to see what did they post, like, dislike, and comment on in high school back to middle school. Just like that college you want to go to. Just like that job, that military, that trade school, whatever you raised your hand for, they're going to dig. And for those seniors, I'd argue those juniors, they're already doing their homework. So you have to be aware. They are digging into your past. What did you post, like, dislike, and comment on in high school, back in middle school? She said that the word is in all the songs we listen to. Sounds familiar. And she's only a freshman in this story. She spends her entire high school life getting to a point where she earns a scholarship onto a national champion team. And a 3-second Snapchat from 3 years earlier in her freshman year that was supposed to just disappear and delete somehow reemerges. Let's continue, please, with after the female student went, right in the middle.
After the female student went to Instagram to voice her support of the BL movement following the George Floyd protests, the African-American student who saved the video shared her original Snapchat on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. She called out her racist behavior.
It led to thousands of students nationwide calling out that female student for her use of the N-word. It resulted in public pressure on the university as first respond the team would vote, and then the college gave the student the choice of withdraw or Tennessee would take back its offer. She withdrew. Now 20, she is still living at home with her parents. Her mother said that the entire community vaporized 12 years of her daughter's hard work, and unfortunately it's going to affect her for the rest of her life.
20 years old, living at home with mom and dad. is going to affect her for the rest of her life. If you think those examples I gave you were made up and can't happen to you or a friend, a teammate, a classmate here at Milford, if you honestly believe that you are that invincible to this type of behavior, this type of consequence, you are begging to be the next person to suffer it. This is real life, real world. And if you think it can't happen to you, you truly believe you're that invincible, I promise you, you're going to be the next person to suffer to these life-altering consequences. You may have heard of this expression before. You live in a cancel culture. That college, that job, whatever you raised your hand for, when you're involved with something like this, your name, your face is a part of it. I don't care if you say, I've got nothing to do with it. Your face is in the video. Your name is attached to the tag. They're going to cancel you that fast. You have to be aware of how dangerous this is. You have to understand it's your future that's on the line. So who do you associate yourself with? Who are your friends on this weapon? You have to be mindful of what every single adult is telling you to protect you, because that outside world, it will cancel you. Please take it seriously. How about a huge round of applause for these volunteers? You're awesome. You can head on back. Great work. Great work. You know, every single time that I hear that story, I think of three people. I think of the young lady who lost it all, 20 years old, living at home with mom and dad. I think of the young man who was offended, and rightfully so. And then I think of the person who got the Snapchat. And the only one we know nothing about is the person who got the Snapchat. We know this. They weren't brave enough to do anything about it. See, I wonder, if they were brave enough to tell an adult, in this world of if you see something, you've got to say something, hear someone, tell someone, there's cameras everywhere. Being brave isn't easy. It's actually really hard. Being brave is sharing information with an adult. So if the person that got the Snapchat went to any one of the adults in this room, went to the principal's office, could there have been an apology, a closed-door meeting between those students? Everybody moves on. Could there have been an assembly like this, an education as to why it was wrong? We'll never know. And lives have been changed forever based on that lack of bravery. So I wonder, you get the same word-for-word Snapchat. You brave enough to tell an adult? Probably not. I gave this lecture in Boise, Idaho, not too long ago. Students just like you, gym just like this. And about an hour after it was over, student went to social media, posted the following, said this about the presentation, this particular slide, quote, "Blood ain't gonna get me to snitch." That's what she said. I guess I'm blood, and she thinks that me saying being brave is snitching. So I said, well, I'm in trouble here because the example I'm giving, it's not landing. I better come up with something better before I get to Milford. So here we go. Let's just say that you're over at the Casey's, and you're just walking through the parking lot, and all of a sudden, a fight breaks out. Now, you've got nothing to do with that fight. You see it. A couple of students that you recognize from school, but that camera catches you. That camera knows you're there and knows that you see that fight. So as this person gets beaten up, here comes the ambulance, and now off to the hospital, you're an eyewitness to a crime. Or you walk over to that grill and chill, and somebody in that corner table is making one of those fake accounts on this. You know, the one that has no name and no face, so they can terrorize somebody in this room, in this community. Oh, we got a victim there too. So in both of those cases, you're an eyewitness to a crime. Well, what's going to happen is the police are going to confiscate the footage. They're going to call the school. They're going to identify you as that key witness. The next phone call is going to come from the police or to the sheriff. And then your parents and yourself and the victim's family are all going to come down to the station. And they're going to say, look, we need you to be brave. We need you to step up and give us that name. Tell us what you saw. And in that moment, when you represent one person, and they want you to be brave and step up and help. And let's just be realistic. If the person that got beat up was your brother or sister, if the one that got absolutely torched and humiliated on this weapon was your best friend in the world, you would hope that somebody in this room was brave enough to step up and see what they saw. Well, you can either be brave or you can be like the student from Iowa. I ain't no snitch. Well, now you put the police in a really tough spot. Because now maybe they have to arrest you. You are an uncooperative witness to a criminal investigation. Could you imagine that? Being arrested here in high school based on that lack of bravery? Maybe they say, we're not going to arrest you, but we're going to call the school, and our recommendation is you get suspended. maybe expelled. Whatever the outcome is, you put yourself in that spot based on that lack of bravery. See, I ain't here to tell you to do anything. I just want you to understand that you never know, especially in this world of cameras everywhere, when your bravery is going to be called into action. And the only person who can decide how brave your one client is you. It's really no different than volunteering and being selfless and kind. See, this neighborhood, this community, they need you to volunteer. They need you to get out there and help either with special needs, anti-bullying, animal rescue, 4-H, whatever it is here in this community. They need you out of the classroom, away from the fields, to go help and give back. But look, I'll simplify it to this room, this building. Need you to be selfless and kind. See, which person are you when you show up to Milford in the morning and throughout the day? Are you the one that's selfless and kind to everyone? To the students, to the teachers, to the staff? Or are you the one that's selfish and mean? See, you're the only person that makes that decision. Are you selfless and kind to everyone or selfish and mean? Because you're not that far away from being out there in that real world. When you're that 18-year-old on a college campus surrounded by thousands of strangers completely lost, or the first-year person on the job site, and you're going to hope that those people that are around you are a lot more selfless and kind to you than selfish and mean. So, again, the only person who gets to decide which one you want to be is you. All right, I know where the athletes are. It's so many, and I love seeing the jerseys. I'm all about dabbing you up. You're out there on the fields. You work hard. You're on the court. You're in the pool, the track, whatever your sport is. You practice. You commit. You expect people to come, support you, cheer you on, and again, get to wear the jerseys down the hallways, high-five your fellow student. I get it. I've been around it for 25 years. But you're not the only ones who want and expect support. You know, there are plenty of organizations in this building that expect and hope for the same. Especially, where are the ones that are in the performing arts? Can I see those hands again? I could count it on 2 hands. How about a huge round of applause for the performing artists, because they don't hear it enough. Well, I will be really clear to admit that the hardest part about my job is getting the concert tickets and the meet and greets. So if the professional player that you look up to, it doesn't matter if it's the player, the sport, the team you root for, whatever, that pro, they love the arts. They show up to Broadway. They go to the concerts. They dab each other up backstage. Drake's got a basketball court in his house. He brings teams over and they all hang out. If that's how it is at the professional level, is it the same way here? I could only imagine the energy in this room if the entire football team showed up to the winter concert or the spring play. See, that's being one Milford. That is one community. And for the athletes, if you expect people to show up and support you, how about we return the favor and start showing up and supporting others? These folks might look familiar. The one in the football pads, I got football players here. That's actually Chris Stapleton when he was in high school. In the middle, that's Taylor Swift, and that's your boy Drake. When they were on a stage just like this in high school. And now they're the biggest stars maybe in the world. You're going to school right now with those performing artists who can easily become them. How about we start showing up? Because I know if those 3 superstars were here in Milford tonight, the line would be to Chicago to get in. Again, you got 24 hours in a day. You represent yourself. You get to choose how and where you support the others. How about we all start supporting each other? And then the most obvious thing I could say all day is bullying, unacceptable behavior, real and tragic epidemic in our society. Your job, and that's every one of you, is to lead, not follow, in anti-bullying initiatives. So listen, we're at the end of the presentation, and I'll admit something that happened earlier. I see you all come in. I see where you come in from, where you sit, the ones that sit in the back, the front, whatever. But the only thing I think of when I am over here about to begin, the only thing that goes through my mind is I wonder if there's any bullies in this room. And if there are bullies, I wonder who they'd be. Now, I don't know who the bullies are, but I know who does. Every single student. Every student in this room knows who the bully is, especially the actual bully. Now, the thing about being a bully is no one made you a bully. I don't care who you are or where you came from. You choose to bully others. You bully people in the room and in the school and in the community, and without question on this weapon. Well, I'm going to fast forward your life. At some point soon, you're going to be out there in that real world. It's real, and it's coming for every single bully. But I'm not wrapping up on bullies. I want to talk to anyone who feels like they are being bullied, and unfortunately, that's probably way too many of you. Bullied a little, bullied a lot, in person or on that phone. I asked you a question earlier. What's your ability? What's the one thing that you do better than everybody else? You're going to take that ability and add two things that I know you have inside. One's courage and the other is confidence. How do I know? It takes courage to show up to this school every day. And I know you've got confidence because anyone that has an ability always has some swagger to it. Ability, courage, confidence, you are going to combine it and make it one. And for anyone who feels like they are bullied, the moment you commit to that combination, the moment the bullying ends. Now, I got a couple of questions because I want to show you one more slide. And if you think the answer is yes, I want to hear you say yes nice and loud. This is where I need your voice. If this kid went to this school, walked these hallways, do you think there'd be one bully that would call this kid, and if you think the answer is yes, say yes. Do you think they'd call this kid a dork? Yes? Loser? Yes? Maybe fat? Yes? I agree. I think this kid would get called a fat dork loser all day long. And it doesn't matter if it's high school, middle school, elementary school, that student, boy or girl, hears fat, dork, loser nonstop. Doesn't end when the bell rings, certainly doesn't stop when they get off the bus. Why? This weapon. This is where the bully lives now. This is where the bully attacks. And that boy or girl who hears fat, dork, loser all day has to go home and stare at it at night is taking the most extreme, heart-wrenching of permanent, irreversible decisions to make the bullying go away permanently. That's a tragedy on our hands based on a bullying behavior that maybe came from this room that was a choice and could have been avoided. And the reason why for anyone who feels like they are being bullied, I promise you, it is about courage and confidence and ability. Do you know what happened to the fat dork loser in these pictures? That's me, and I came here today to share this message. That it's not about how and where you start when others here doubt or judge or even bully you. It is all about how and where you choose to go with your courage, confidence, and ability out there in life. Because every one of you are agents representing one client. You're writing your own life story. How do you want to tell the rest of it? That's entirely up to you. So for every single one of you, every single student, the athletes who I consider leaders in this building, for every teacher, every administrator, every parent, you're one Milford. And you've got to be one team to make sure that you are not part of that bullying problem and rather be the solution. I was told you'd be a great group. You proved it today. I want to thank you so much for having me. Two words that are easy to say that always go a long way are thank you. So I want you to hear me say thank you for having me here today. Say thank you to your parents. Say thank you to your educators. They are looking out for you. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the school year. I'll give it back to Mr. Flaherty. Good luck. Thanks so much.